Hi, thanks for joining me. Today my guests are Dot and Dave Gildea. Welcome. And we are going to discuss life and times.
Okay.
So, Dave, you were born in England and so were you, Dot.
Yes.
But you came here first when you were just a little kid, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I came. I'm not quite sure of the dates myself because I was born May 46, so it could have been late 46, early 47. We came here. My mum brought me over to meet my dad, and she was coming to join my dad, who was born here. And
actually, we should mention that, you know, talking about Fernie families, your father, Bob Clark, is from a long-standing family in Fernie. I mean, they've been here for many, many years.
yeah,
So you have long roots in Fernie.
I think my great-grandfather was the one on the Clark side that emigrated here from, I think it was Doncaster in England. And actually I just missed my grandfather when we came at 69. My dad's father, he passed away in Cranbrook a month before we came here. It was really strange because my mother always swore she saw my grandfather after she took me back to England. Saw my grandfather walking past our house in Liverpool, and nobody believed her. But it turns out when we came back here and found out, he did in fact go back to England to look for me. And he never got to see me.
And so he never got to see you there, and you never got to see him here.
No. It's kind of sad.
It is sad.
Yeah. But anyway, life goes on. We came here in 69, yeah. 50 years this year, yeah.
So you met Dot when you were quite young, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we met.
We were 16 when we met.
15 when we
15.
15, wow.
And then we got
Then she dumped me.
And then we met again when I was 18. I can't remember.
We met again when we were 16.
16.
He only dumped me for a year.
Yeah. And then we've been together since.
Yeah.
So you were married when? What year?
67, 21 years old.
Yeah.
And then you moved to Fernie in 69.
Yeah. We moved.
Well, the reason we came was his dad wrote to him and asked us to come out. Would we think about coming to Fernie to live? But at that time he was thinking of going to Australia, and I wasn't about to go there. So I took the best of two evils and came to Fernie.
So what was Fernie like when you first came? Like, Dot, what was your impression of Fernie when you came here?
Well, there was no big grocery stores here. Main Street, there was MC Cash Grocery, you must remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And Quayle's, she had a clothing store on Main Street
BJ,
too.
Rahels?
Yeah, no, BJ's.
Yeah, BJ's next
and then
to...
Donny Rahels and Minifees, but we've got none of that now.
No, it's true, it's all gone.
Yeah, well, there's no local stores now, it's all coffee shops and bag shops, and that's all there is.
Except for Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
there's not much for females.
No.
For clothing.
No.
Younger, there's a couple of shops for younger.
Yeah, but for like Jovi's age, that's it.
Oh, there's Freya's, I think, isn't it? Freya's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
for the
I
younger
forgot
folk.
about
Yeah,
that.
that's right, for the younger
Yeah.
ones.
Sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And like I say, I miss that. I really do. And then of course we got Overweighty, where the community college is now. That was the first Overweighty that opened.
That's right.
And I remember the apartment building on the corner burning down.
Oh, yeah, the Napanee.
Yeah, because Kath Bracewell phoned me. She lived across the road from me at the time. And she said, Dot, something's on fire downtown. I looked out the window, and sure enough, the Napanee went up that night.
1982, that burned down.
Yeah.
There was 40 apartments there.
Yeah, I remember it.
As a matter of fact, you probably remember the Diamond Grill and the Yips.
Oh, God,
Mrs.
yes.
Yip said she was in 3 fires. The second one that she was in was the Napanee. She was living there. And then her house burnt down as well. I can't recall which the first one was, but that was really a sad loss for Fernie because it was 40 units that were lost to people, and they were all mostly senior people that lived in the.
Then there was the King Edward Hotel.
And right next door was the King Edward.
Yeah.
That burned down too. No, not the King Edward. The King's Hotel was right next to the Napanee.
Yeah, but the King Edward.
And that burned down, And then the King Edward burned down as well. Yeah, we've had some.
And then, talking about the Diamond Grill, when Lem and Linda took her over from Mrs. Yip, they had a little girl, same time as I had Elena. So I used to babysit for Linda from the Diamond Grill because she didn't speak much English, so I sort of helped her with it. And they're both gone now, both him and her. But the daughter, Sandy, is still alive and she's in Vancouver. In fact, she's coming to visit me next month, so I'm looking forward to that.
I remember the Diamond Grill because as a kid, growing up in Fernie, there was nowhere to go except the Diamond Grill.
Yeah.
And that's where everybody hung out after school. And although my father didn't like us to hang over there, sometimes I would sneak there and go for, I would share a pop with somebody because we never had much money. And I remember the glass, Coca-Cola and Pepsi bottles.
The jukeboxes on each table, remember that?
That was so wonderful. They had the big jukebox and then the miniature ones on each booth. And that was great. I remember. And if you think about it, the Yips were the only non-white people in Fernie, and I never thought of them as being Chinese. They were just the Yips. Never, there was never anything.
No, they were good friends. We met Linda when she first came over, right? She couldn't speak any English at all. That was funny. There was a friend of actually Phil Edmonds' dad, John. We used to go to the Diamond Grill lots, and John liked egg and chips, which is a British staple.
French fries and eggs on the same plate.
So he ordered egg and chips, and it came out on a plate, one egg on a plate, and some French fries on another plate. And John just got quite perturbed over this. They'd do it on two separate plates. They'd never heard of egg and chips together as
on
a
the
meal.
plate. Yeah, we have some fun memories. We really do. And I wish really we could go back to those days, because you go downtown now, you don't know anybody. You really don't.
And that is true. There's very few of the people our age that were here for many, many years, or even for myself. For my parents' generation, very few people left.
You don't know anybody. I go to Cranbrook and I meet more Fernie people in Cranbrook that live there now than what you do here.
Yeah, that almost seems true. But when you first came, Dave, what did you do for work?
In '69? For the first 3 months I just lazed around and enjoyed life. Then I kind of figured we had to get our own place and I better get a job. So I got a job as a union carpenter for a couple of different, we built what was the Texaco, it's now the meat market on the highway.
The Texaco garage.
Yeah, it used to be a Texaco garage.
Okay, I remember that.
And I helped build that. Well,
And you built Salus's house.
And yeah, I helped Hillard Construction. I worked for him building Mr. Salus's house. And then another job as a union carpenter, building a railroad bridge out in Sparwood. And then I quit that. I got really ticked off about that one. So then I started building houses myself, and built about 12 houses here. And then I went to work for Beaver Lumber, selling house packages.
I remember Beaver Lumber.
Yeah.
So I worked for them for 7 years.
And that was situated on 9th Avenue where the Rocky Mountain Clinic is now.
Yeah.
The first one was there. It was, I think it used to be called, before it got took over by Beaver, I think it was White's Lumber or something. So it was a little tiny place. And then they built where the fitness center is now.
Right.
And that's where I worked out of. I had an office out of there. And I covered right into Pincher Creek and right up into Invermere. That was my territory. So I was on the road lots. So 7 years of that, and then I kind of morphed into kitchen cabinets with Lon Blakey and Bill Antonise.
Well, you had a business downtown, situated downtown, where the Falcons Insurance.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Oh,
Falcons
yeah.
anymore, but
That's
it was
after
then.
we lost contemporary cabinets in that crunch in the 81, I think, when interest rates were 21%. That was kind of ugly.
Well, you didn't move out of there in the 80s, did you? Out of that building? Out of downtown? Wasn't it later?
No. When I was in partnership with Contemporary Cabinets,
Oh, okay.
where River City Woodworks is, we built that big tilt-up concrete building. It was the first of its kind in the valley. I notice now the cities use the same system to build the new yards. But when we lost that in 80, then Lauren and I started a cabinet business on Main Street.
Okay, I had forgotten about that. Mm-hmm.
And then Dot and I bought him out, I think after about a year.
Yeah.
And ran our own store there for 20 years, I think.
Ed Lipp owned those buildings
Yes,
at that
that's
time.
right.
And he was really good for, reasonable rent. But then when it was sold, that's when we got out of there, because he jacked our rent up to what?
Well, he didn't even give us an option, really. It was just
Falcons
get
who
out
bought the
of
building.
And Mr. Lipp built quite a bit downtown, because he
Well,
built
where the sand store used to be, that was a whole block, and where the bargain shop and the Salvation, he built all that too.
Right, plus the area that is now the insurance and Bean Pod and that whole, and where you had your business at one time. Yeah, he did a lot for Fernie.
He was, a lot of people maligned him for some reason. I don't know why they didn't like him, but I've got to say he was always good with us. We weren't always on time with the rent. We always paid it, but he never gave us a hard time. And every Christmas, he'd bring us a bottle of wine and a Christmas card. Every Christmas, without fail. And he didn't have to do that.
Well, he cared.
So yeah,
he was a decent guy.
Yeah, he was.
I couldn't believe it when we got the news that he'd gone in his garage and hung himself.
Actually, I was working for, oh my goodness, I can't remember, the photography studio. And on one day he came in and talked. It was so quiet in the photography studio. Some days, if you had 3 people come in, it was...
You were lucky.
Yeah. And I remember he came in and stayed there for over an hour just chatting with me. And then I heard about 3 months later that he had passed on. It was so regretful.
I know, I couldn't believe it.
And I think back that he must have been quite lonely for him to just spend time with somebody he didn't even know, but just wanted to stay and talk.
Yeah, it really was a shame.
Yeah, because he was a caring person.
I think
we always found him that way.
But mental illness,
that's
it's just,
true.
that's what it is. That's what causes those kind of things to happen.
Yeah, it's true. But you own that side of the road where all that on the right-hand side as you're coming down Main Street, where the sand store used to be, he owned that whole block. And then where the Salvation Army is, he owned that whole block.
Yeah, because he had it built. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we're just going to take a little break.
Okay.
I'd like to ask you about this wonderful little story that you told me about, where, the situation in the beginning where you and Dot didn't have much money.
Oh.
And you were living above one of the buildings downtown. Dot, I think you said it was
the ski base.
Ski base.
And then in the front apartment, right above the ski base, it's all ski base now, but there used to be an apartment right above, and Anne Celsiotis and Alex Celsiotis lived in there. Dave and I were in the back. Carol and Phil Sukroff were next door to us, and George and his wife lived just down the hall, and we had to share the bathroom.
One bathroom for 4?
No. Our bathroom was across the hall.
Oh, okay.
But it was supposedly our bathroom. They had their own bathroom.
Oh, okay.
But lots of times people off the street would use our bathroom, and once they found out it was up there. So
oh gosh.
it was,
Yeah.
it was kind of interesting. But I think we were paying something like $70 a month rent.
Rent to check out wine.
And I was in between jobs, and we hadn't got any money.
And of course we were so proud we wouldn't let anybody know.
So we used to go to, we had a lettuce. That's all we had for about a week. And so we lived on lettuce leaves, basically. It sounds crazy, but we did.
We did it.
And so we'd go to bed at like 6 at night, so we'd sleep through the hunger. And we'd gone to bed, and it was maybe 6:30, something like that, and there was a rustle in the hallway between our bedroom door, which was our front door, and the bathroom. So first we didn't think anything. Oh, we thought somebody was going in. Phil was going into his apartment. But so I got up. Curiosity got me, and I got up and I tripped over this. When I opened the door, I tripped over this box, and it was just full of groceries like bacon, eggs, butter, bread, and couldn't see anybody anywhere. So we brought it in, and we cooked up a pretty good meal that night. And we never did find out who left that.
We had an idea.
Suspicions, but we never had any proof.
And we always thought it was that guy that put all the air conditioners in the old motel, the hotel.
The motor inn.
The old motor inn. The guy that...
Mike, he was an English guy.
And he was putting in all the air conditioners. And I think it was him that knew.
Still, you know, I thought that was such a beautiful story, you know, that somebody would do that and not want any recognition or any thanks or, you know, I mean, that's true giving from the heart.
Right.
Don't you think? It's
Yeah,
just,
it really was. I mean,
and even, you know, to be at that moment where here you are, I mean, honestly, I'm sure there's people who think two people living on a head of lettuce for a week. I mean, that's...
No, people don't believe us, but we actually did it.
Yeah.
And we were so proud. I mean, his mum was in Flint, Michigan at the time. And my parents were in England. And his dad and his stepmom, Eva, were in West Fernie, but we wouldn't let any of them know.
Well, I can understand feeling proud that you don't want anybody to know what kind of situation you're in.
Yeah, I don't even know whoever it was, how they found out.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know.
I still say it was Mike.
It could have been. But that's a long time ago now, so I'm grateful if they're ever watching this. Thank you very much.
No, well, I just thought that was a really lovely story. Really touched me when you told me about that.
Mary, that's what I find with Fernie nowadays. You don't get that closeness. Like, you go downtown and can you honestly say that you see anybody that you know?
That's true. There's not many people that I know.
No. Yeah. And I miss the old bakery, Tippy Mendo.
Yeah, remember that wonderful bakery where you could go in there and get donuts and
sausage rolls.
Yeah, and all kinds of delicious things with cream in them.
Minife's Menswear, Donny Rahals, Quails. You've got none of that now. It's all
the Minton's drugstore.
Yeah.
And Trightswood. Trightswood was still there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. My dad took us into Trightswood a couple of days after we landed here, and I remember looking at the price of jeans, blue jeans, which were quite expensive back in England, and they were like cheap to us. I was grabbing blue jeans all over the place. But yeah, no, that was quite a store.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember, Dot, but they had the ladies section, one whole section on the right side of the building, like the far side, and it was just like in the English. They had the clothing in like closets that were open, but they were inside. The clothing was inside. And being the oldest of 4 children, my mother always took me shopping with her from when I was like 8 years old, and I was the interpreter. And for 3 or 4 years, I remember we'd go into Trightswood. My mother would be looking for a new coat, and there would be the same things in the, hanging because people just weren't buying because there was no work. The mines weren't really working
No.
in Fernie, and there wasn't that much employment. So there was a lot of people that were probably in the same position as you were.
When I remember when the mines went down here, they were on strike. I forget the year. It must have been in the 70s. It must have been the mid-70s. And they all walked out, and for about a year. And you couldn't sell a matchstick in this town, you know, for just about a year.
Yeah.
It was just brutal. And, people were having to sell stuff left, right, and center, or try to make ends meet. It was a pretty tough time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we rely on the mines so much, and I don't think people nowadays in town realize just how important the mine is to the valley.
I think the newer people that are coming here have no idea of how important the mine is.
That's what I think myself.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, even in the 80s when Westar went down, the town was boarded. In 1986 or 87, we had the, Fernie hosted that, oh my gosh, what was it called? Where we had all those sports people. It was the senior games, I think. The winter games.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I should remember because I was the chair of hospitality. But
yeah, you actually volunteered in that.
Yeah, because we had over 2,000 volunteers for that.
I got it. Yeah, I've still got it. It's in the closet.
And I remember bringing some of the visitors downtown, and half of the town was closed. I'll never forget that. I remember being so embarrassed that Fernie looked so poor.
Yeah, no, it's like I said. I don't think the mines are appreciated as much as they should be. There seems to be a real emphasis on tourism, and I know it's a good addition, and a lot of people are making a living out of it. But if the mines ever went down, tourism would not save this valley.
Well, tourism has brought us a few of the extra things, like, you know, the fast food places and the coffee shops downtown. But still, the economy is really impacted when the mines go down. And because I've been here since I was a little kid, and I've seen it, you know, I've seen what they call the booms and the boom and bust. It impacts, no matter what they say.
Well, it's bound to, Mary. You know, it's, you know, I don't know.
And then you've got, you know yourself, when you were mayor, the mine tax, the share of the
almost $3 million.
You know, you took that away from the city out of the budget. That would
all of the extra, all of the things that we enjoy that make Fernie so special, like library, all the arts and culture, the museum, you know, the seniors, even the chamber, all of these programs that the city supports, plus the arena, the aquatic center, all that is supported by the tax sharing monies.
Yeah. I think it's important.
Well, what was that we seen on the net the other day about them going to we asked for a referendum if they borrowed that money for the new arena and everything else, and they said he'd already applied for it, and we said, well, I thought it was supposed to go to a referendum to the city, to the people of Fernie, before it goes ahead.
I believe there's a law, a regulation, a BC regulation, that anything over $1 million has to go to referendum.
Well, I hope so.
But tell me when you built your house, because you built it right next to the cemetery, and when I was a kid, from all of the stories I heard as a kid, I was scared to death of being near a cemetery. It doesn't bother me anymore.
It's like my mum says, Mary, the dead won't harm you, it's only the living.
It's true, though.
Yeah. I remember growing up in Liverpool, and we got lots of old cemeteries, and we were always spooked by those. Like, they're hundreds and hundreds of years old. And I always said to my mates when we'd go through one, I would never live in a house by a cemetery. Never gonna happen. And what happens? I'm like 100 feet from the cemetery.
But you had a choice, so, you know.
Oh yeah, I had a choice, and it's actually a really pretty spot.
What he's not telling you is, my mum only ever made it out here once, God rest her soul, and she came, and at that time my whole back garden was vegetables, potatoes, carrots. I mean, I was the going concern. You know, she wouldn't touch a vegetable in that garden. She said the dead were fertilising it. She refused to eat anything out of there. Honestly.
Yeah, no,
she refused. She said the dead are fertilising your garden.
She was a little Welsh lady, about 5 foot nothing.
She took a size 3 shoe. She was
Oh, wow.
5'3". We all get our height from my dad. He was 6'5". But
we just got a photo of her mum. My sister sent it over that they found in their box. They were going through family records, and she was. I should have brought her with me. She was really, really pretty. She was quite attractive. Yeah. And there's a whole other story there.
Don't even go there.
No. Okay.
We don't want to broadcast that.
The thing is, though, like even for changes, the cemetery has changed because of the work that a certain group of people have done here in Fernie. Some of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, which I'd like to mention, is Len and Barb Cossack and Patrick Burke.
Yeah,
and their volunteers. They've really made a difference, because the old cemetery, which is actually really beautiful, was looking so run down until they took charge and started working over there.
Yeah, no,
you know what? There used to be an older guy, maybe you remember him, Patrick. I think his daughter or his son-in-law works at Overweight, or he used to. He used to look after the Legion Cemetery all the time. Huh?
Skifty, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Skifty Morris?
Yeah, I always used to take him a cup of tea or a drink when he was working over there, because he used to spend hours over there.
I think his name was Skifty Morris, and I think at the golf course estates there they named
Yes, they've got a roadway named after him.
Yeah.
I used to work so hard in that Legion Cemetery.
I don't know whether I told Patrick or not. When we lived on the Isle of Man before we came out here, my brother-in-law showed me a grave of a guy that was killed in the Hillcrest mine disaster, and it wasn't his grave, it was just a headstone that his family had done. And long story short, he's buried in the Fernie cemetery.
Oh, really?
And we lived 100 yards in the Isle of Man from his headstone, and we live about 100 yards from his actual grave here now. And I always kind of found that weird that we moved from the Isle of Man where he was from, and both places, his marker and his grave, and same distance from.
You ready for a break?
Yep.
Okay.
So Dave, you were a councillor in the 90s, right?
Yeah, 96, I think, to 2001 or 2000.
I would just remember it was the 90s.
Yeah.
What made you want to run for council?
You know what, it was kind of funny in a way. I think it was Frankie Caravetta had gone around, he got all burned out of shape because the council of the day prior to us wanted to give themselves a pay rise. And he was quite upset about it. They took it quite seriously. And he ran around, he got a huge petition. It was huge. And it was about this thing. And somewhere in my office, I think I still got it actually. And he asked me, when I was signing it, would I go to the council meeting with him for support. So I said, sure. And the room was actually packed. And he presented his petition. And the council of the day, sorry to say, kind of laughed it off and went ahead with it anyway. And I was so incensed at the way they treated him personally, knowing all the work he'd done, that I said, well, I'm going to throw my name in the hat and I'm going to run. And I did, and I got elected. And we inherited the pool, in the sense that the pool was like, I don't know, 30% built, and it was a real mess. So our council got the job of finishing that off. We couldn't scrap it. It was too late, it's too far gone, so we finished that off. And then one of my councillors, I think it was Woody Woodward, brought in the recycling and garbage collection. So we actually did away with the city collection and had an outside company do it. And we did actually save the city money doing that. And nobody lost the job, which I was quite proud of. That was one of the things we were determined that if somebody was going to lose their job, no, we wouldn't do it. But, so those are probably a couple of things I was quite proud of.
Well, you've always kept your interest in, you know, on council. I remember when I was on council, I always heard from you, but I always responded because you know, sometimes you made me think, and even if I didn't agree with you, I've always felt that if somebody cared enough to write to you or contact you, that you should care enough back to listen. And so I always did that.
And I always appreciated it.
Yeah.
You know, I fell in love with Fernie when we came here. Dot struggled a bit in the early years, and understandably she came from a big family. I was just an only child, really, at the time. So, but I liked it from the get-go. It's a beautiful spot, and it really was friendly when we came here. It was a different atmosphere. You know, Friday nights. Remember Friday nights we used to, especially around Christmas time,
socialise on Main Street.
It was a social where it wasn't organised. It wasn't like, you know, now we have the Wednesday social.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I might get shot down over it, but to me that's an organised event.
Yeah.
What I remember when we first came on Friday nights was completely unorganised, but people would just drift out into the city and go shopping, especially around Christmas time, and you could pop into Donny Rahal's clothing store, and Donny would have a little shot of scotch or whiskey in the back there for you at Christmas time. You could go down Main Street. By the time you'd gone down one side and come down the other, you were pretty well looped.
Menifee's menswear. Yeah.
That's the difference, I think, from then to now, right?
I think, that's it in a nutshell.
There's camaraderie. There was, you know, people knew each other. There was, you know, you just felt so welcome going into the shops.
There was, on that same subject, there was just remember now, the Cold Creek picnic.
Yes.
We went to a few of those in the early days.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that really wasn't organised. It was just
people
an event.
knew it was a date, and then people showed up.
And you'd go down Cold Creek, and I forget how far down now were the old soccer fields I think they had there.
Yeah.
And I think they had a pool there.
Oh yeah, they did. They had I've seen photos. They had a really big pool, as big, if not even bigger than the one we had in Fernie in Rotary Park.
The one I used to love, the outdoor one.
Yeah, that was really nice.
I taught Stephen to swim there.
All my children learned in there.
Yeah.
Although the aquatic centre is lovely.
It is, it's fabulous, but I'd still prefer my outdoor one.
That outdoor one was really fun.
That was unique. It really was.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's what's changed about Fernie. You know, and maybe I'm just old and getting grumpy, I don't know, or reminiscing maybe too much.
There's no closeness, I find. There's no...
It's changed.
Yeah. I mean, there could be closeness for some of the younger people that are into the sports, you know, that do the mountain biking especially. Like, there's a big organization with the Trails Alliance, and they get together, they go out there, they build trails, and so they have that. I think that's how they're doing it today with the younger people.
Yeah.
Is that they're doing it with sports, whereas for us it wasn't about sports, it was just about the people.
Socialising.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just different, I guess. You get older, you know, you gotta kind of bend with the wind a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's certainly, change is inevitable. I mean, what is it that I've always heard, that the only the only constant in life is change, and the only thing that is for sure are death and taxes. So, you know, you've just got to accept that there's going to be changes, but still, you know, you look back.
I think it's not for the good, though, especially for Fernie. I'd like to go back at least 20 years or 15 years and have that Fernie back. Like, I say you go downtown now, you've got the bike shop and your first one you meet. then you've got the medical centre, then the ski base, then another bike shop, then you've got a sport, yeah, and then a spa, and then there's that child store, and now we're getting another coffee shop on the corner. You know, that's all it's going to be. It's not, to me, it's not Fernie.
Well, it's a different Fernie, for sure.
Fernie,
Yeah.
It's,
And for the young people, they think it's great, just like I guess we thought it was great 25 years ago.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first came here, well, there was a lot of things. We came from Liverpool, which was, at that time was well over 1 million people, and the height of the Beatles is when we were teenagers. We'd both been to the Cavern and that when they were playing. Separately, I never went with Dot. So we left, which was a city that was humming, and we came to Fernie.
Yeah.
There wasn't much here.
No, I remember my mother saying when she stepped off the train, and she goes, "I'm in the wilderness." And years later, she always would say, "If I'd had the money to turn around and go back, I would have."
Yeah.
But
Me too.
I'm sure you felt the same way, Dot. I mean,
I remember landing in Calgary. We came from Montreal to Calgary by train.
Well, Montreal to Edmonton.
Edmonton.
Then we had to get a Greyhound bus.
From Edmonton to Calgary. And his dad was meeting us there. And I had a white pleated skirt on. This is the middle of summer. White pleated skirt, white high heels, a suede coat, and I was carrying an umbrella. Can you imagine what I must have looked like to the people of Calgary at that time?
And I was right in the middle of
Stampede. I'll never forget that. I felt so... There I was with my umbrella and my white pleated skirt and a suede coat and white high heels in the middle of Stampede, and I'm thinking, what the hell has he brought me to?
That was Calgary.
Yeah. Yeah. But Calgary wasn't very large back then either. It was under 500,000.
Yeah, no, it was...
Yeah. I mean,
but it was certainly a lot bigger than
Fernie.
Fernie.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, let's face it, Fernie in the 50s and 60s, the 40s, 50s, 60s, it was pretty dull in a way. Although the people were great, and we spent a lot of time together, but the town itself didn't have very much.
I can remember thinking what my mother must have felt like when she brought me over as a baby into West Fernie. And
outside toilets.
She was used to, in Liverpool, even when my mum was young, we had indoor plumbing and everything, and she was used to that. And she came to West Fernie, which was pretty much a shack, and an outdoor toilet. I don't know what she must have thought she landed into.
Well, I'm sure she must have felt absolutely dreadful. I mean, to think you come from a place that's civilized to a place that doesn't seem civilized if you don't even have amenities like indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to work for Donny Rahal on Main Street there where the spa is now, and Grace Rahal, which was a wonderful woman, she really was. And I can remember her telling me that Joyce came in for something when they were running that store, and she says she was just awful. She talked down to everybody, and I don't think they knew her that well, that she wasn't talking down to them, But,
yeah, Fernie was definitely different back then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a struggle, I think.
But with all of everything that you've gone through, and the good and the bad, because you've had some good times as well, would you want to leave Fernie? And if so, what would be the one thing that would make you leave?
The one thing, Dot just talked to me. She wouldn't mind moving sometimes. I've been the one that's like firmly planted in the ground. I'm not moving, but I think the one thing that would make me move would just be the high taxes in town, and if they get higher, that would be the straw that broke the camel's back. Especially now we're on pension, you know, you appreciate other pensioners. You know, we've been lucky. I mean, we had our business, we made a little money, so we've been lucky. But there's a lot of people that haven't been so lucky, and they've got to be struggling. And the taxes just seem to keep going up and up and up, and it's not right. There has to be something done about that. That would be the straw that broke my back.
Well, if you compare the price of homes from, say, 1970, I remember the houses in Ridgemont, the first ones, going for 21, 25,000, and I remember the family saying, "Oh my gosh, that is so expensive." Those same homes now will go for 500,000-600,000, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the change in pricing has become really unbelievable.
Well, those ones over in the subdivision where the school is, there's not one of them selling for less than 1.2 million.
Yeah,
You know? And I've talked to some people that have moved from here to Cranbrook, and they've bought nice homes in Cranbrook, but the only drawback is they can't get a doctor in Cranbrook.
Yes, some of the people that have moved to Cranbrook still come to Fernie to see their doctor. Some that have moved to the Crow's Nest Pass, I know them personally, still come to Fernie for services.
Yeah,
For doctors, for hairdressers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same as these people I know out
Yeah.
of Cranbrook, they cannot get a family doctor.
It's difficult to get a family doctor even in Calgary.
I think it's the same anywhere now. It seems to be.
Except I think Fernie's pretty good because they've got a lot of doctors here. The last count, I think it was like 26.
There's not too many of them are taking on extra patients.
Actually, there are a couple of doctors that are taking extra patients.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they've got that count includes 3 or 4 locums. Anyway, I want to thank you,
thank you
for coming and talking about Fernie, because this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to document people's
No, you're not filming me
memories.
still, are you? No, I'm not saying it.